Well, for months now, we've been following the beating death of Kelly Thomas and the two cops who will now stand trial. But this morning, deeper questions that go beyond the actual crime. We're going to talk about mental health. Kelly was schizophrenic and homeless. And if you've been following this heart-wrenching story, you have probably seen the video of Kelly being repeatedly beaten and tased by Fullerton police. And I got to warn you once again that the video you're about to see is extremely disturbing.
So he's got together already in the front?
Yeah.
Put him in the front. Okay. The best way I can
Because of the fight.
Okay, wait, I don't want to take those off. He's still going to fight. Yeah.
Yeah. He's so fine, dude.
Relax. 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 Okay. So
What's this guy's name?
And as you just heard, you could hear Kelly pleading for his dad. Those would be among his last words because Kelly died 5 days later. Now that video and Kelly's story have thrust the issue of mental health right into the spotlight, an issue that Kelly's dad, Ron Thomas, has turned into a personal crusade. Ron's joining us from Orange County, California. Ron, thanks so much for joining me this morning.
Thank you, Kara.
You know, we play that video because it's extremely compelling evidence, and I can't even imagine what it's like for you, the dad, to have to hear it again and again. But as a former deputy, what does it reveal to you?
Well, my first thoughts were I was totally betrayed by law enforcement. It also revealed to me that the city of Fullerton, upper echelon in the police department, but also the city council, mayor, city manager, have absolutely no control over those officers, none at all.
And you have actually trained deputies on how to respond to someone like your son. What did you see that obviously these police officers had not, they just didn't have knowledge of when it came to dealing with somebody with mental illness?
Well, yeah, I have. I've taught many different agencies in law enforcement, including Marines going off to war, how to do certain techniques, but the arrest and control techniques, primarily, these officers didn't use any of them. They were just fumbling around, trying to beat him into submission. They didn't use any proper techniques at all, starting with the basic one, calling in a CAT team, the mental illness professionals, who Fullerton uses quite often. They should have called them in. They knew Kelly, they knew about his mental illness. If they thought it was a problem, which Ramos did, and he told Kelly so, then he should have called in the mental health professionals. They did everything wrong. The only tools that they used were tools of force, the batons, knees, elbows, tasers, but they didn't use the most important tool of all. That was the mental health professionals that were available to them.
And let's talk about that for a second. There is such a stigma when it comes to mental illness. And I know you still receive heart-wrenching emails, letters about where were you, Dad? Why weren't you helping him out? Will you please explain to those that don't understand mental illness what it's like to have a child dealing with this and how much you can do, and it's still it's not so easy. It's extremely challenging.
It's very challenging. I worked with Kelly in his mental illness for 15 years, and it's all day, all night. It's literally like taking care of an infant. When he's on his meds, he was fine. We could carry on conversations. He could function. He'd be great. That was also a problem because he'd want to get on with his life. Who wants to live in a board and care? Who wants to live in Dad's house all their lives? They want to get out and do something. He did, in fact, even hold down some jobs. But once he would wander, because he wanted to get on with his life, he wouldn't be on his meds anymore. The schizophrenia would set in again. And it's just a vicious cycle. So for those who say, where were you? They have no idea what I've been through with Kelly and the trials, tribulations of dealing with somebody, working with somebody with a mental illness such as his. It's a tremendous amount of work and effort, but you can tell certainly by Kelly's last words the relationship that we had. We were very, very close.
And he was calling for you. You were that one
Yeah.
person he desperately wanted to come to his rescue.
Absolutely.
You've addressed what you want to see members of law enforcement do, and that's better training on how to deal with someone that has a mental illness, to recognize it, to know how to handle a situation like that. What is your message to parents who, and I have very good friends dealing with this, I've got family members dealing with this. What is your message to someone who doesn't know what to do if they have a child that's struggling with this, and they won't take their medication and they won't listen to mom or dad? Because you feel very helpless.
Well, one of the best tools I had was to get conservatorship. And now your child has to consent to this, but you need to get conservatorship, and they no longer have a say in their treatment or whatever. And that allowed me to do things with Kelly he didn't want to do. I've actually had to put him into lockup facilities when I would find him in a park, and he was just so bad, and really his health would be going down, that I took him and put him in lockup facilities. He'd get better, back on his meds, and he'd come home with me. They need to be so proactive. It's not easy. It is not easy at all. It takes an awful lot of work and effort. Getting to the psychiatrist, to the doctor visits, those kind of things. Get involved with organizations like NAMI, NAMI, and they can help you. They have the answers. They have the resources. Now with Kelly, I didn't know about any of these. I was handed a pamphlet by Orange County Mental Health way back when, and it was basically good luck. Didn't have a clue how to deal with it, and I had to learn along the way. But today, there's a lot of help out there, a lot of help out there. So please do the research and get your loved ones the help they need, and never give up. Never ever give up. It's not their fault. It's a mental disease. They can't help the way they act.
Ron Thomas, thanks so much for joining me today, and we will stay close to this story and continue to follow all the rulings. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carol.